Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com. Industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage. And brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Shock Therapy, ride your way. Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radio since 1977. And by Priority Tire, moving with you.
Thanks for cruising along with us here at Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com. Now, you know, a lot of folks have carbureted engines, but they want to go to fuel injection, but they don't do it because they're afraid it's going to be too expensive and mostly too complicated to put in. But at FiTech, Bryce, you guys have changed that. How have you simplified the whole process?
All right, the big thing with converting over to fuel injection now is we've made an EFI system the size of a carburetor. It looks like a carburetor. Everything's built in, including the computer and a majority of the sensors. With doing that, wiring's so much easier. It's 4 wires to hook up. You just got battery, key, fuel pump, and a tax signal. From there, there's 2 off-board sensors. We give you the oxygen sensor, the coolant temperature sensor, even revisions to install them. So it's everything you need in one box. You drop it on your 4-barrel intake, and you're ready to go.
I noticed the bolt positions, those are the same as stock would be for a carbureted system?
It's designed to bolt onto any 4-barrel intake, so whether it's the 4150 or the Carter flange, it'll bolt right on.
And of course, it looks like a carburetor, and mostly the idea is to keep the spirit of the vehicle that you're putting it on, but also the clearances stay the same then when you put the hat on top.
Yes, so the height's the same as a carburetor, the linkage is the same as a carburetor, so once you hook everything up to it, put an air cleaner on it, no one knows.
So, okay, you're mechanically inclined, you can put this on in a day.
Yeah.
Now, maybe you're not so adept at computers. How complicated is it to tune?
So to set up the system, first of all, it's a self-learning system. So there's really not much tuning for the end user. But to get it set up, we provide the handheld tuner with it. There's a menu that you want to go through when you first set up that tells the system how many cylinders is the engine, how many cubic inches is the engine, what is the idle speed, what is the rev limit, and then a cam selection. The cam selection is a 1 through 4 option. 1 would be a stock cam, 4 would be a race cam. So if you're somewhere in between the two, you can take kind of a stab at it. From there, let the system tune. It'll eventually tune itself to where it needs to be, and then optimizes the system to run on your engine.
And of course, you can disconnect this when you're done, throw it in your glove compartment. But you said a lot of folks that are using this are actually keeping it on the dash. What can it be used for besides setting that tune?
Yeah, so we provide a handheld mount that allows you to hold it up on the dash for you. And from there, you can display large gauges. So anything the system's reading, like the RPM or the coolant temperature, you can display nice and large on the handheld controller.
So a lot cheaper than buying a whole new gauge set.
Absolutely.
And we covered how easy it is to install. How reliable is the system once it's in my car?
The systems are very reliable. So reliable that we're actually offering a 3-year warranty now on the systems. So if anything goes wrong within it, give us a call. We're going to be there. We're going to help you out. We're going to cover the system 3 years. With that said, all of the components as far as the sensors are over-the-counter OEM parts, which are available anywhere. So serviceability is completely there, and it should be a trusted product.
Incredible serviceability, amazing reliability, a 3-year warranty, and this is going to take your vehicle to the next level. You can find them at FiTechEFI.com.
Transmissions have evolved from the 2-speed power glide to the 8-speed to 10-speed automatic transmissions today. Welcome to this AMSOIL Tech Tip. Well, how did that all happen? It's all about the valve bodies, my friends. It causes the shifts. What is it and how does it work? Well, you can see it right here. It actually has a bunch of valves located in there. Shift valves, modulator valves, reverse valves, manual valves, everything that's directing that fluid to different chambers to make it happen. Here's one right here, and you can see all these passages right here, all these nooks and crannies cause that fluid to run around and go into the transmission at different points to achieve the different shifts. We're talking about shift solenoids right here. Those cause different shifts, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a pressure control solenoid. Now all these solenoids and valves, they make the shift happen. Now Lynn, could you explain how this chart works? This is how it actually happens.
I think if you can understand that, you can land on the moon.
Absolutely. It's a complex machine, but it all starts here at the pump, and then it goes through all those passages to make the shift happen. That's good enough, Len. But a little bit earlier, I actually measured this. This is a manual valve, and your shift's connected to it, and you move it back and forth. I measured it with this vernier caliper here from the inside and the out, Len, and I have a little bit of thousandths, not too much play in there, and fluid has to make those valves move. How does that happen?
That space that you're talking about, I mean, that's less than a sheet of paper. So there's not a lot of room for anything but the fluid. So the fluid has to remain fluid. So we're talking about detergency. We don't want to have buildup. We don't want to have varnish or any type of depositing in there, or it can create sticking.
Now, I see that a lot. These things get varnished up, the fluid's in there too long, you might have shift problems. It may be just as simple as changing your fluid or maintaining your fluid. Check them out on the website at AMSOIL.com.
We got a note from a viewer named Don Griffin, and he was thrilled to nominate his best friend Clive Whitaker to be our PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week. And I said they're best friends. It's an improbable friendship. Don is from the tiny island of Nevis in the Caribbean. Clive is from Zimbabwe, and they were both living in Orlando over 15 years ago, and they were part of a group doing Sunday morning motorcycle rides. Don says he and Clive discovered they had a common passion for speed and adrenaline, and in the years since then, they've been best friends, taking road trips to see races all over the U.S. and sometimes even crewing for various amateur road racing teams. As for Clive, his love for racing started in Africa when he was a kid. He'd climb the fence to watch race cars at his local track in Bulawayo, and that's when he was hooked. He's worked as a marshal for MotoGP racing and even for Formula One in Miami. And if Clive's not at the track, you can find him on his motorcycle. One of his biggest accomplishments, the 1,000-mile Iron Butt Challenge from Florida all the way over to Texas. Don says no one deserves to be the PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week more than his brother from another mother, Clive Whitaker. And we agree, although you've been right there with him, Don, so you most certainly win honorable mention. Well, now it's your turn. Head on over to MotorheadGarage.tv. Tell us who should be the next Motorhead of the Week presented by PaintedAutoParts.com. Could be you, could be someone you know. Hey, we're going to show you more of the greatest aftermarket gear for your vehicle when we do this again next week on Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com. We'll see you then.